Have you ever wondered why we don't see the same kinds of miracles today as the ones we read about in the Bible? There's a saying that says familiarity breeds contempt, which means the longer you've known someone, the more likely you are to take them for granted. That's what familiarity is. It's when what was once intimate or respected starts to become friendly. And the uncomfortable truth, especially for many believers, is that because we have gone to church for most of our lives and we have read the Bible a few times, we start to feel as though we know everything that there is to know about God. And so we don't really expect anything new. And as a result, what was once a passionate pursuit of God has gradually become casual worship. And that resulting familiarity has limited our faith in God and what He can do. For example, do you know that the only place where Jesus couldn't perform any great miracles was in a city called Nazareth? And it's crazy because before going to Nazareth, Jesus was healing the sick, raising the dead, casting out demons, and even calming storms at sea. But when He arrived in Nazareth, Mark 6 verse 5 says, He could do no mighty works except lay His hands on a few sick people and heal them. Now, can I tell you why Nazareth is so significant in this story? It's because that's where Jesus grew up. It was His hometown. But He couldn't perform any significant miracles even among His own people because they struggled to believe Him, or because they thought they knew everything about Him. They were overly familiar with Jesus. That's why Jesus said in Mark 6 verse 4 that a prophet is honored everywhere except in his own hometown, among his relatives, and in his household. And what's even crazier is that after Jesus left Nazareth, the miracles continued. So the problem wasn't that Jesus couldn't perform miracles. It was that the people of Nazareth didn't believe enough to receive. As I said, the truth can be uncomfortable, but in many ways, today's church resembles Nazareth. We are God's house and we are God's people. Yet like the Nazarenes, we struggle to receive from God because we are overly familiar with Him and we take Him for granted. The reason strangers benefited from Jesus and experienced great miracles while His own people couldn't was simply because their faith in Him was not familiar and they desperately pursued Him. So the reason we don't see the same kinds of miracles today as the ones we read about in the Bible isn't because God has stopped performing them. It's that we are so comfortable. God still performs miracles. But if we want to experience the greater works that Jesus assured us that we would do, we need to become desperate for God again, which means unfamiliarizing ourselves with God and honoring Him with our faith.